hangout named Know Your Numbers. Obviously, it's going to be all about numbers, but how do you get to those numbers, and what are those numbers? Now, an initial target many people have, maybe actually modest, like $10,000 or something, maybe to get to that level so that you can then start thinking about making it bigger than that. So the target number I'm using is the magic 100,000, a six-figure number, the first six-figure number, which is 100,000 annual income. So how on earth does a person make $100,000 in annual income? Well, you could earn it as a salary through wages, exchange your time for an hourly payoff. But 100,000 is quite difficult, especially if you look at the majority of the jobs market. It's not the high-paying type, and you really have to come up with a very specialized type of work in order to get paid six figures. The other obvious type is business. Now, by business, I mean the regular mom and pop shop type of a business, your average bricks and mortar type of business. We'll get into that in a moment. A lot of people make money, six figures or more, through property. And many of these people have started with very little, so it is possible. And again, the principles applied to this are very similar. Then I have another category here, that's the internet. I have separated this from business for the simple reason that online marketing is something where you can't really efficiently run a bricks and mortar business with, although it can supplement your business, your cash flow through the internet, through localized target marketing. But marketing is at the most you can do using the internet, really. If you're a real estate agent, for example, you're not likely to sell as many homes on the internet because that still requires a person-to-person contact most of the time. Now, there are other ways of obviously getting to 100,000. The blatant one is inheritance. That's just a matter of procreation. If you were procreated in a rich family, you can expect to easily make 100,000, because behind the 100,000 are probably millions of dollars worth of assets that produce $100,000 annual income. That's the easiest one, but it's not the most widespread one. You have to be privileged to be born with a silver spoon. The other is fame. If you're into sports or any kind of performance, whether it's arts or whether it's acting, music, or any of the entertainment businesses, you can get famous and make well over six figures very easily. But then again, you need the talent. So there's a question of, do you have the talent to get in that direction? So I'm just touching on all the possibilities there may be. Skill now is, again, slightly different. Here, for example, a computer wizard comes up with some kind of a service. You may be a cybersecurity expert, expect to be paid more than 100,000 quite easily. If you're a professional like a doctor, a lawyer, if you have an acquired skill that demands market value, then of course 100,000 shouldn't be a problem at all. But our discussion today is how to be a home-based person and make 100,000. And this market, this space within the online as well as offline, but marketing, network marketing industry, is actually one of the fastest growing industries in the world. The problem is, those new joiners aren't necessarily joining you, are they? They're not joining me, maybe a few, but not all of them. So how do you capture all these people? We'll get to that in a moment. So just to cover property, really, this is the best type of business anyone can get into ever, because at the end product is a property portfolio that hopefully you will get to own. So you have a real physical business. Very, very few other businesses come close to this business of the property real estate investments. But there is a problem with real estate, and I'll try and break it down. I've used very, very simplified figures. Obviously, they're never so straightforward. There's a lot of other variables to sort of bear in mind, but here's an example of $1 million property. Okay, this is actually in the United Kingdom. This is close to £2 million, but for argument's sake, I'm just going to use $1 million. If you had $200,000 deposit, you borrow 800,000 loan, so 20% deposit, 80% loan to value. You can expect about an annual income of about 52,000. But remember, this big fat loan, you're paying roughly 4.5% to 5% interest. So your net earning is still only $12,000. This $12,000 is actually the total return on your own money, which is the 200,000. And your own money, 200,000, is producing a yield of just 6%. Isn't that shocking? Just 6%. If you're earning, after you pay off the loan and all the other expenses, if you're only making $12,000 on $1 million property, if that's literally the net result that comes into your hand after expenses, given the current environment, interest rate environment, and given that rentals aren't really flying necessarily, there is a lot of market pressure on rental values. So if you put it into perspective, 6% return on your own $200,000 isn't very healthy, to be honest with you. Even if you didn't have to borrow the loan, you would need about $2 million worth of a property to generate a rental income of about $104,000 if we take the same figures as in this example. Now, again, this is not a fixed example. It's a very crude example, but just to drive home a message, excuse me, just to deliver the message basically, where even after you take a bank loan and tie yourself up with the banking industry, even when you have to then become responsible for the maintenance, one boiler breaking can destroy your 5, 6, 7% yield. And any property investor today, if they're being honest with you, they will tell you, even if they have a mixed bag of properties, a mixed portfolio, some real estate, some commercial real estate, some residential real estate, and some, within the commercial, then some are offices, some are shops, etc. So even if they have a nice, healthily mixed portfolio, they will be able to confirm to you that actually the yields aren't very good. They barely are touching double digits. So 9 to 10% as at the high end of the rental property, the commercial real estate investing side of it. And and at the same time, you are facing a risk because if you lose occupancy, if a tenant gives you notice and leaves, you may get the penalty period in hand, if there is any. But at the same time, you are now stuck with a net drain because you're paying until you find another tenant. So again, lots of variables, but the reality is that far too many people, tens of thousands of people, have actually made good money through property. They have created large property portfolios. Classic network marketers such as Robert Kiyosaki himself is a major property investor, and he's got property investing training classes all over the world. Excuse me. So it is a fantastic business to be in, but it is not for everybody, for the simple reason that not everybody has the courage to go out there and have a multiple leverage portfolio. I have, in my online journey, met a number of people who already have property portfolios. When they go pear-shaped, they are really seriously in danger of wiping out a person's well-being, first of all. And secondly, the people I've met, some of them anyway, are still trying network marketing. Why? To supplement a property portfolio. So, it's not really that rosy a picture these days. There was a time it was doing very well, but it's a very precarious market to be in because you may not even be able to get that loan in the first place because all these conditions have suddenly become tighter because of the credit crunch and ever since then. So the next is, your salary. And I picked this example. This is the United Kingdom's #1 largest superstore. This is it's bigger in the UK than Walmart, which is otherwise known as Asda. And in the United Kingdom, this particular chain employs about 476,000 staff. But what I wanted to highlight here is a problem. Obviously somebody has to work there. Someone has to do this job. So I'm not knocking the job per se. What I want to highlight is what happens as a consequence. And as a consequence is basically the CEO, for example, of Tesco, Dave Lewis, last year he earned close to $6 million worth of salary and bonuses, which is fantastic. Good for him. Well done. But about 10 or 12 of his senior management team members earn more than $1 million each. Now, a team leader in the United Kingdom, a team leader within Tesco will earn an average of about $20,000 per year. It's actually 16,000 British pounds, so I've turned it into $20,000. Now, simple question really. Does the board member making $1 million really work 50 times harder, 50 times longer per day, or 50 times more manual operations, or 50 times more calculations of some sort, or genius decisions? Are they all 50 times more valuable than the team leader or not? So when it comes to, people talking about a pyramid scheme, this is a classic, typical pyramid scheme. Because how do you get $1 million for a small group of people and $6 million for the CEO? How does a company get that money? By actually giving less at the bottom and paying more at the top. Because let's say, the CEO did a fantastic job anyway. The argument out there is that, if you didn't offer a really big, fat, juicy income, you wouldn't attract the best CEO and they wouldn't be able to do the best job in the market. It may be a fair argument. I'm not arguing against it, that, people deserve to earn if the company thinks they're worthy of earning $6 million. But the point to the team leader is this. Are they 50 times less intelligent? Are they 50 times less competent? Are they 50 times less of a person that they should be stuck at this? And for this person, it would take them 50 years worth of savings. If they save just 10% of their 20,000 salary, it would take them 50 years, 50 years of working in order to save $100,000. It doesn't bear thinking about, does it? To get to $100,000, okay, admittedly, they haven't obviously inherited it. They may not be the best singer or actor, or may not be an artist that commands high premiums. So, admittedly, they are like me, just a regular person. And, excuse me, and being a regular person like anyone else, 50 years is a very, very long time to ever reach this target. And then again, you can't work out a yield on it. You can't work out a return on it, because you've only really set aside something. You've not really made money as such. It's what you have saved from being spent. And if you really think about it, even if this person decided to do double time, overtime, the maximum they would earn is $40,000. And even if they earn $40,000 by sacrificing the other third of their day, 8-hour shift plus another 8 hours, 16 hours a day, first of all, it would be illegal for anyone to do that within the same organization, or even with the second organization without declaring to the first. Even if they work double time, it would still take 25 years to get there at the expense of a lot of private compromises in personal life. But, excuse me, there are benefits. You know how much you're earning, and you know that you just perform a few basic functions and you get paid for it. So this is basically what keeps the economy going. And these are critical jobs. But what I really wanted to highlight is that knowing numbers, a person working as a team leader at Tesco's should not be hoping to buy $100,000 car anytime soon, because let's face it, they just can't afford it. Their current situation isn't allowing it for them. Having said that, nothing's stopping them from adding a supplementary income to the existing salaried wage, their wage with Tesco. Nothing stopping them from adding to it and supplementing something on the side, because without doing that, they just are going to have to compromise on everything else just to save a little bit of money. And the reality is most people actually haven't got savings. But jobs like these obviously are easy to get by. It doesn't, you just apply, and as long as you have a decent character reference and no criminal record, you'll be taken up straight away. And even if you are, some of these companies run programs for people who are ex-convicts, and they have rehabilitation programs that introduce people anonymously. So lots of social benefits, obviously. And this is the backbone of every economy. Imagine if stores like this shut down because all the employees decided to become network marketers. That's not going to happen. That's never going to happen. But if some of these employees decided, okay, I need to do something else on the side, then now you have an expanding network marketing population, because obviously this kind of fixed salary system is not sustainable when interest rates are low in the market, when your deposits are earning nothing, and when your cost of living is constantly increasing. And add to that, you have your car maintenance, your, again, boiler breakdown, unknown expenses, and you do want to have a bit of a life. You do want to go on a vacation every now and then. The only alternative is then to add a second business income without actually having to work double time. You may end up doing double time, but the other double time you're doing is to build your own business rather than pay Dave Lewis his $6 million worth of bonus. So coming to business, excuse me, still struggling a little bit with my cough, so I do apologize for the coughing. This is an example I wanted to give because I know this person, Lord Karen Billy Moria, also known as Lord Billy Moria of Chelsea. He's the founder and entrepreneur who introduced a unique type of beer to the United Kingdom called Cobra Beer. And when he started his business, he was already $25,000 roughly in debt. And then he went and pleaded bank after bank after bank, including my boss's office, my former boss, excuse me, Lord Billy Moria. He was not Lord Billy Moria then. He was just another management graduate from Cranfield Business School. And he would sit for hours outside my ex-boss's office and literally plead for a loan or some kind of financing, find me someone who can help me. And somehow he managed to get a bank loan. So he started life with a total debt of more than $65,000. But his idea was genius. He basically wanted to create a light beer with very low bubbles that will match the curry of Indian origin that is popular in the United Kingdom, because the other regular beer was too gassy, and that caused a lot of problems when you have spice and gas both at the same time. So he figured, I need to do something about it. There's a niche here. I can build this up. So in 1990, in the back of a very old car, as students and ex-students, usually in huge debt, don't have posh vehicles, in a very old banger of a car, he started selling literally 15 cases a day. He would have them imported from India initially. He got a brewery to make Cobra beer in India to a specific standard, have them imported, excuse me, and then literally drive from restaurant to restaurant and sell them. But because he had a genius product idea, and this is the point I wanted to make, enterprise premium cannot be underestimated. You can make millions, if not hundreds of thousands. But you know, how many ideas or niches do you really see out there in the market? If you have, you know, I encourage you, explore them. Please do. And if you really have a conviction about it, go for it, because worst case scenario is it'll break you. But at least you, after being broken, you know, you won't turn around and say, well, I never even had a go at it, because that regret is probably going to be much bigger than you know, being broken, to be honest with you. You know, no harm being broken at all. No harm falling, no harm stumbling, no harm facing rejection, no harm at all whatsoever. That's just part of life, okay? So few people actually attempt it for that reason, because, you know, fear of rejection and what if something goes wrong is the main reason that puts people off business, generally speaking. But, you know, look at him. By 2007, his sales hit 30 million. He expanded into 45 countries by then. And by 2010, he was set to reach $100 million circulation, one of the largest privately owned breweries in the whole world. But guess what? 2009, he went bankrupt. Why? Because in order to fund his expansion, he had borrowed a lot of money. And guess what happened after 2007? 2007, 2008 came the credit crunch. And the credit crunch meant less people were going into even Indian restaurants, which were very popular over the last 20 odd years in the UK, especially. Actually, up north in the United Kingdom, in certain areas, Indian food has been popular for more than 30 years, but especially in the last couple of decades. But, you know, the credit crunch affected him so badly that he practically went bankrupt. He needed a bailout, and all his loans went bad. He defaulted on a number of them. Well, you know, along the journey, obviously, he's enjoyed a lot of fame. He's a member of various boards. He's got 9 PhDs, honorary doctorates from various universities, just honorary, like, you know, just conferred upon him. He's got a whole series of awards by Her Majesty the Queen. He's a member of the British Empire, a commander of the British Empire. And, you know, but he's never really recovered, because his baby, which is Cobra Beer, is now co-owned by another organization. Although he still runs it, he really can't call full shots. And it's only just sort of recovered back up, and he's down to half his profits. But, you know, not many people have these kind of ideas. You know, some people have some, you know, Robert Kiyosaki, by the way, he started with a Velcro wallet, you know, a wallet that opens and closes on Velcro. Very simple idea. That launched him. And then came the remaining network marketing expansions that he got into. Excuse me. The second type of business, you want to make $100,000 a year, simple, straightforward bricks and mortar business. There's a problem in this kind of a business. A lot of people are really actually shy. And on the other hand, the majority of your downtown, Main Street, High Street, whatever you want to call it, is full of people doing small and medium enterprises. They are the most common types of businesses, and this is the most common area where actually $100,000 is possible. It truly is. But you have to know what you're doing, and you have to have a go at it. And sometimes it can really blow the lights out of you, simply because it requires a lot of hard work, but it is possible. And the majority of people that make 6 figures do so in small business. It's a very well-known fact. A majority of people in network marketing do not make 6 figures, but the majority of people that make 6 figures are likely to be small bricks and mortar businesses, small and medium enterprises. And you know, it does take time and investment and effort. That's key. But the downside is that, you know, you do have a high starting cost. I mean, even if you rent one shop, from the moment you rent it, your rent is already an expense before you've even seen any income coming in. Now, I'll give you an example here of an estate agency. Obviously, you know roughly what your overheads are beforehand. Let's say you have 2 members of staff, so their monthly outgoing salaries are known, your rental is known, your electricity, water, etc. Are known, your equipment costs are known. But your agents, let's say you've got 2 agents who work for you and go out there and get property sales done. They, no matter how hard you try, they will always have a fixed number beyond which they can't physically get any more income going. What do I mean by that? Excuse me. In the United Kingdom, a regular mortgage advisor advising regular residential mortgages will struggle to cross 60,000 British pound a year. Why? Because there's a certain number of hours it takes in order to go through the paperwork and all the other ins and outs. So for the number of hours per day that you put in, there is an upper limit as how much you can make. Now, you're going to wish you had twice as many hours in a day so you can make twice as much money in a day, but it just simply doesn't happen. So when your paperwork increases, you are forced to hire a PA or a secretary or somebody to actually help you with the, another professional to help you with the paperwork. Now, the moment you hire somebody else, your net income goes down straight away. So it's a constant battle to keep up and match the maximum you can make. The same applies to your news agents, your corner shop, various type of small grocery stores, for example. They may have some months where they do well, some months where they don't do so well, seasonal stuff, no problem. But there is still a limit, because within a geographical area, depending on the footfall, there is only so much business you can possibly attract. And then comes the balancing between, if you want high footfall areas, you end up paying higher rent. So if you're on Fifth Avenue or something in New York, clearly you're getting $1 million footfall there, therefore you're paying $1 million rent. But if you're in the corner of a small town somewhere, you're paying diddly squat in rent. But then again, the people visiting you will be spending diddly squat as well. So, the two are proportional to each other. And this is where leverage becomes necessary. And by leverage, I mean very simply, you've got 2 fantastic estate agents working for you. And instead of them learning the whole area's address book and knowing all the clients, remember, they're the client-facing ones, and then they each decide, hey, forget this guy or lady, we're going to go and set up our own little shop. And they set up 2 new estate agents, one to your left, one to your right. And guess what? You've immediately lost all of your business at the same time. So the better way to leverage it would be to simply open an office yourself and invite one of your, what would have been agent or staff, to become a partner and share some of the profit. Guess what? They feel it's a promotion. You have now got 2 branches under your brand name. And although you're sharing revenue with them, you're not losing the revenue you already had. For your existing shop, you simply hire 2 new people, and the 2 older people branch out and become your branch franchisees or similar. And this is how small and medium businesses, by expanding, are able to make 6 figures quite comfortably anyway, even if there is a limited geographic footfall per unit. If you simply expand the number of units, it should do very, very well. I've met several millionaires who started out with pharmacies, opticians business, dentists, who basically just got into partnerships, started expanding, and next thing you know, they had a small chain where they could demonstrate cash flow, and next thing you know, some venture capitalist or other company or bigger medical organization comes along and says, hey, you've got a nice little model here, you've got 8 shops, each run by a manager, you pay everybody their salaries and you're basically the owner, and to own the rights to all those shops, 8 of them together, here's X million, thank you very much. And next thing you know, you're free from the business just by using leverage. And that's the key. A lot of millionaires I have met in my life have become millionaires by using leverage. It's just that it looks very different to multi-level marketing, but the principles of that leverage are exactly the same as they are for multi-level marketing. Basically, you expand your business by treating people as partners, as your co-workers, and instead of them just leaving and going and joining something else, you help them grow as best as you can. You stay in touch with them, and they help you leverage, because then they go and multiply, and you will have some benefit out of that. Excuse me. So that brings us to our final business, the multi-level marketing model, where you don't have a salary, clearly, because it's entirely performance related. So your income is uncertain, no doubt about that. But you know what? This is such a fantastic business model that the majority women, 80% of all the millionaires in the US that are women millionaires, 80% are from network marketing. And I suspect it's actually much more than 80%, because I easily imagine another 10% being, let's face it, the corporate world is very feminist even to this day. And although there are a few nice, illustrious women CEOs, many will still say that, progression in a corporate structure is a nightmare. But, network marketing, many have made it. And how did they make it? Because, they saw an opportunity where you're rewarded according to your work. So if you're feeling like network marketing is not rewarding you right now, you can't blame somebody else for it. You really can't. There is any company you take, you really can't blame others for it. And, I've seen some examples of where people very easily lose interest very quickly. I really feel like asking sometimes, why did you bother joining when you really didn't know what you were doing? You posted one or two links, and then you start getting fed up, and then you move on to the next shiny object. People like that will never make millionaires, let alone definitely never make the six figures, because how do you make six figures? By trying or having a chance at something or the other. And, if you think about it, actually, forget the millionaires, 100,000 is possible. It's not that difficult to build an organization worth $100,000 per year in residual income to you using network marketing. Why? Because, besides the same qualities as a regular business, you have a very, very low startup cost and very, very low overheads. And we are going to get into this details in a moment. What do you need to do in order to get to $100,000? And in another session, I hope to do the compensation plan in more detail as well. But, your progression here, as you can see, you can, start as an affiliate, and you can go up and up the ranks according to your work. Now, in your regular company business, like the previous example I gave of, Tesco's here, for example, out of 476,000 staff, only one gets to be CEO. However, here, out of the remaining number of members involved in the business, totally irrelevant. You start as an affiliate, which is basically you start as the CEO of your own home-based business, and whether you're seeing success and millions of dollars coming in or not is simply a function of have you grown or not. And if you're not growing, then obviously you need to address the issues as why are you not growing? Why is this $100,000 target elusive? Why is the target running away from you? What is it that you're not doing? What is it that you're doing wrong? Or is it that you just expected to post in 20 groups on Facebook where 300,000 other people are posting their stuff, and a lot of that stuff is rubbish, to be honest. And, when you're doing that, do you really think that that's the way to do it? And then, if nobody responds, the usual response is, I'm a bad recruiter. Don't have to be a bad recruiter. You're a bad business builder, perhaps, So the question then is, well, should you even attempt this business? Well, the thing is, of all the previous business models, this is in fact the easiest because it costs less. So you're not facing a massive loss or massive drain on your resources. And it is actually relatively easy to recover your basic investment within this. Your initial investment should be recoverable reasonably quickly. And when you have that, then basically it's a no-cost business to you. And when it becomes a no-cost business, that is really your springboard into your first 100,000. But you still need to apply the same principles of leverage. And MLM allows you, multi-level marketing gives you pure leverage, which is basically not having to share profit in an estate agent's business, whereas here, a member joins and your a proportion of your bonus is already fixed. Excuse me. Now, obviously, this is the same type of team building, isn't it? Because so were you here, when you expand a small business and when you're growing branches, and imagine the first ever McDonald's, and then they open the second branch and the third branch, and when they're growing, what are they doing? Aren't they building a team of units that are working in different areas? That's the same story here. It's classic team building again, but it's a more transparent and low cost and efficient way of doing it. And unless you are able to multiply and duplicate, you will face stagnation even in this business. Therefore, duplication is necessary, and you need to put targets in place in order to achieve this magic six-figure income. Now, obviously, unlike many other businesses, this gives you several types of income. So you get the upfront commissions, obviously, you get long-term residual also, and you also get this occasional flash income. I call it flash income because it just suddenly flashes because you weren't expecting somebody to upgrade, and if they did upgrade, boom, there goes another bit of cash in your pocket. So how do we get to the income target of $100,000? Well, first of all, I just want to break down these categories of income. One is the type of commission you get by selling a product or anything where immediately you're paid something. It may take 14 days to cover the refund period, etc., but at least you're getting paid immediately, and that is your upfront, and that's a cash bonus. Residual is obviously the income that comes from anything that is either auto ship based or requires fresh funds coming into the system all the time, and then that is your residual income. The occasional income is what you are not expecting, not necessarily planning for, but it simply comes because of certain conditions being met in your business. And that's similar to performance-based, where obviously the more you grow, the quicker you reach the next level and you start earning bigger bonuses. But what most people don't know necessarily and don't realize, our compensation plan pays you in 9 different ways. And it's been paying 9 different ways for 8 years, right? And out of this, a lot of people overlook it, but there are some very, very interesting bonuses in here that you may not have even heard of before, or maybe not have had a chance to look into. Build to bedrock bonus, for example, is where you bring in a limited number of people, just 3, within 30 days, but each of those 3 needs to duplicate within 30 days. And if they did that, you, who brought in just 3, gets a $200 bonus on top. This is $200 more than everybody else that has or hasn't recruited anyone yet. So, a lot of people overlook this bonus, and this is a great incentive for new joiners coming in, that if you're able to bring in just 3, if you've got a team, if you've already worked with a team. Now, sadly, what happens in network marketing is some of the people will constantly be pitching you new business opportunities. You join them, you join them, you join them. When the turn comes for them to join you, they will just blank you. And there's some interesting characters out there, but you need to know who you're working with and who you're joining with in the first place. Anyway, and there is also something called a global bonus pool. If you get to a certain level, ambassador and above, imagine the total net profit of the company, you get a share, 1% in that. That's almost like, basically, if I just go back to Mr. Tesco over here, this 6 million is largely out of the gross profits of the company. So his base salary is actually $3 million, and the additional $2.75 million is what he makes from the company profits. And he does not make 1% of the company's profits, because it's a shareholder-driven company. 1% would be way too high for him. He makes a tiny percentage of a 1%. Yeah, and that is millions. So if you put it into context, any company that is willing to pay you 1% of the company's share, and obviously this is further shared out amongst other, ambassadors are sharing a certain percentage, and then national ambassadors share a different percentage, etc. But bottom line is, as the company continues to grow and the bigger the sales volume is, this includes free members coming in as plain savers. That also adds to the volume of the business, and you get you get to have a share in that. Can you imagine that? Now, obviously, we have another category, which is the Bitcoin mining returns. Obviously, you have your personal Bitcoin mining you've purchased, and that's giving you a return of some sort. And you can also apply compounding to accelerate your returns more quickly. But also you earn mining bonuses, and when your referrals compound, you get further bonuses. And for a 100% passive business, this should not be too difficult. The question is this: how many people actually do come up with something to get the attention of your audience? How many people create something to write something? I've seen many people promote many things personally. The thing is, for something that is 100% passive, there should really be a whole bunch of completely free members joining. And it's not just a function of posting on Facebook. There should really be some sort of attempt to reach out to networks in a more intelligent manner. And I'll give you an example in just a moment. So our target is $100,000. Before we go further, I'd like to tell you, $1 in commission is not the same as $1 residual. There's just no way on earth. You might say a dollar is a dollar. Somebody might say gold is gold. Yeah, no, not really. So, gold sold in a plastic bag in some tropical corner of Latin America is very different to Swiss certified gold that commands a premium just because of the brand name. So you can't say gold is gold. And similarly, dollar is not a dollar, depending on what type of dollar it is, because a residual dollar pays you over and over and over. Commission dollar is one time. You may not get it again. If you do get it again, that's great. But commission dollar is basically like running a hot dog stall and waiting for footfall. And if you have good customers, you have good sales. On days when customers are low, you have bad days of sales, and it's up and down constantly depending on how many people come to your hot dog stall. On the other hand, residual income is like literally renting out the hot dog stall itself. The hot dog stall owner has to pay you on a daily basis. The guy running the hot dog stall has to pay you, the owner of the stall, every single day, a fixed amount of rent. Whether he sells more dogs or not doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to you, does it? If you are getting a fixed amount a day, that is residual income. So you can't compare the two. And this is what I wanted to say. Now, to get to $100,000 a year, you're looking at about $300 a day. Yeah. Now, obviously, you can't have $300 fixed exactly every day. But then some days you have more and some days you have less. And you obviously begin with maybe one in your mind with the idea of earning $1, then $10, then $100, then $2, then $300. It obviously needs to be built up. And in order to be built up, it needs the necessary effort to go with it. $100,000 aren't easy to make, no matter what you do, which way you go, unless you're a celebrity, professional, or simply born rich. But if you think about it, we are kind of, we are in a position to attract this kind of money to us if we have the desire to earn it. It will not come just by, crossing your legs and, sitting and chanting Om. It's not going to come flying through the window. It requires effort, and even attraction marketing, no matter how much people talk about attraction marketing, it does require effort. And all the attraction marketing people that are successful that I know of, they've learned how to build funnels and use them, follow up with people, call them persistently, be in touch with people, engage, master one social media after another social media after another social media, and you can't avoid that if that's the method you're using. Otherwise, simply go offline. And again, with each conversation with each person, you need to develop a filter. You can't just, sometimes some people are just complete time wasters, and you need to learn. Unfortunately, I'm not saying judge a book by its cover, but what I'm saying is that if somebody is, the only selfies they have is some remote village in India with, a few chicken running around, that person is not likely to be paying you $5,000 straight away. They could, but obviously by the connectivity, by the profile, this is clearly not a high spender. So really, do you want to go down that route? It's your choice. But, a number of things come into play, but the desire has to be there. And actually, you don't even need all of this, 100 per day in Bitcoin, residual and commissions. You don't need all of this. You'd need half of it, depending on which you're leveraging. For example, if you had 3 times more Bitcoin residual coming in than cash residual commission and commission, basically, you would need half as much income, because that Bitcoin is likely to go up in price anyway. You'll be hitting 100K very soon. If you hit a $50,000 target and Bitcoin doubles, there you go. You've got $100,000 in Bitcoin already. So Bitcoin alone can, compensate. You don't need to think you need to build $300 a day. Start with 150. Start with $50 a day. $50 a day is what? $1,500 per month, and $1,500 per month will require what? 3 platinum members. So 3 platinum members is your target per month. You're halfway there. It's simple as that, But in order to get $100 Bitcoin per day, you need about a total of 300 terahash in mining power, which costs about $39,000 to begin with. $39,000 will give you a return purely in Bitcoin of about $30,000. It's a lot of money, isn't it? But it is all available right there in front of you to be earned as a bonus. You would need 600 paid affiliates at the silver level to make a monthly income of 3,000. That's a lot of affiliates. But, look right below it. Right below the 600 affiliates are 10 ambassadors, a month. That's 1 ambassador every 3 days. Now, this is 10 ambassadors a month give you a similar effect as 600 paid affiliate silvers a month, paying you every month. So, there's many ways of looking at this, but you are not going to recruit 600 people yourself, are you? You're just starting off with a few, 5 hopefully, 5 good people that you can work closely with, and you can help to grow and reach out every time you need some help on an understanding. Reach out, and growing this should not be very difficult at all. And this is basically how you do it. If you wanted 50 terahash, okay, 300 terahash is a very nice target to get $100 per day. That's a nice aggressive target. But if you just wanted to start with 50 terahash, all you need is about 100 members who on average buy 10 terahash each. Yeah. Now these are people who are coming in for mining. You know what? There's 1,000 people joining our mining provider Genesis every single day from China alone. Can you think of a way of reaching out to them? I don't know. I mean, 1,000 are joining every day. If just 10% of those came to you, your target is met. And you don't know when or how much they're going to buy straight away, but you're looking at this target in a year. Plus, when they do buy, they are able to compound with us. So, start with just 5 team builders, and it should not be too difficult to hit these targets if you indeed have this basic target of 6 figures per year. And what's more important is that in this entire system, this 100,000 target is not a one-off commission driven. This is residual. This is something that pays you year after year after year and makes your life easier as you look. All of us are heading towards retirement. Some of us have retired, and the rest of us are heading that way. We're all getting older. And the reality is that the pension system isn't going to help us. It doesn't suffice. And we need to make this supplementary income work for us, without which, we're going to face that same Tesco situation of working away 50 years plus and having to use savings in emergency and not really ever having enough.